you enter a new area.
The vast majority of items that I'm picking up are directly related to like character power and equipment, rather than movement.
Yeah, but you're not really changing your. Well, again, it's definitely doing a lot of its own thing, and it heavily likes both games. But I feel there's more Metroid in it than there is Souls. Personally,
I feel one. But I feel weird about it because I don't like Metroid, and thus feel no Metroid in this game. Almost all. I feel a shit zillion Castlevania.
Well, at the same time, I don't think you've touched anything besides Super Metroid.
I touched Metroid, Super Metroid. I played all Prime games, and those are great.
But like, you only touch those so I mean, there's more to it.
Everyone's like, Super Metroid's the greatest game of all time, and I go back and I'm like, I don't like this.
The things that Fusion does changes the loop a bit, Like you get used to a different sort of map.
I suppose.
But in any case,
I don't know if this is.
What do you feel?
What do I feel?
Well, based on the thought of like how that 8 hours went.
That's 8 plus 2 earlier.
So that's
wars.
session 2.
So no, that's session 3.
Okay.
I'm 25 in.
Right. Now, what do you think about the LP version of that comic?
Worst. The worst ever. The worst ever.
Cut a random half hour out of the middle of that.
A blind Metroidvania will always be a nightmare.
Especially,
I think.
How,
without massive hip guiding,
especially
right?
the way that I was playing it, which was, let's take the tram for example, because there's a 3-room area that gives you a little pass that opens up some subways.
Yep.
I fell through deep nest, did all that shit. That would have been an episode. That would have been fun, right? Get to the underground failed tramway. That's 2, right? Mm-hmm. Then go left. No, I'll leave this till later. Don't get back there for, in LP time, actually 1 month of real time, when all I had to do was go 2 rooms over.
Okay.
Someone would have found and stabbed me for this.
So there already is extra hours on the clock just based on that.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing, too, as you were talking that comes to mind, because, like, besides the tram, is another Souls-esque thing, of course, to make the comparison, is finding your bonfire, right? Find your bench. And find your stag station.
Your occasional liar bench.
Yeah, well, yeah. But find your bench, find your stag station, is the new find your bonfire.
I can't think of anything more depressing, because this is actually super rare in Souls games, that you find a bonfire equivalent that is just smashed to pieces and unusable and unrepairable.
Right.
And it goes, well, you might have had one here, but somebody wrecked it. And so fuck off, go find a different one.
But I will say the combination of boss difficulty, walls that tells you no, and finding benches were enough for me to get my bearings, and for the most part feel like I'm exploring in a manner that is somewhat intended. Also running into a map making buddy.
Yeah. I think the wildest thing that I ran into the whole game so far is, I accidentally happened to swing my nail and hit this wall and it crumbled. In some tiny little bullshit corner.
You got that hours in?
No, I got a bunch of those.
Okay, I thought you were saying you went through a lot of the game and then finally opened up the wall and went, oh my god,
I'm
all
saying
the other walls.
Like, I checked for hidden walls. There are hidden walls in the game. That's clear. I found that out really early.
Yeah, okay.
What I'm referring to is a hidden wall in the ceiling of a bad jump, or the hidden wall in the one I'm thinking of that's really outrageous, in a jumpable wall over a pit that I don't know how the fuck you're supposed to find out that thing's there, or in this tiny little corridor in this path you'll hit this, and this leads to an entire sequence with a boss fight. It's like, the map will. I could have so easily never seen that.
Staring at the map will give you clues when there's a space.
Like if a relatively big space of nothing.
Yeah, when you're looking at the walls of the room on the map, and you're seeing a break, you're like, well, that's a path to something, right? But the actual discovery process, and in some cases, right now you're in a place where there's no such thing as hard progress. Eventually, there is such a thing as hard progress.
I spoke to a guy, and I have some pips on my map, and I'm pretty sure those pips on my map are hard progress.
So that happens, right? And then once that happens, you now are on a line, and the game won't move until you
until I
address
go to those three
lines.
places and go do those three things.
So
The best thing that I can say about any game of this type is that I'll pick up an upgrade and go, I didn't know that this type of thing could be in a game like this. In particular, there's one upgrade that's really, really wildly out of nowhere.
which one?
The one that gives you more information about everything around you. The Y button.
Yes. Yes. Well, okay. Wow. So okay.
No, Wooly. Fucking Spiral here.
Okay.
Like,
That's
the 8-hour one.
That's a late game, but
Is it? Because I look back and I see how much earlier I could have gotten it.
that's a late game button. Yeah.
Probably the weirdest thing, like, because I'm used to thinking of Souls, Metroid, and Castlevania all have the same thing of this area is gated because you can't do the wall jump. There's no way to get up there because you can't do the wall jump, right? But not this game. This game goes, well, you can't get in from the west if you don't have the wall jump. But if you hard-ass your way all the way through the bottom and all the way over to the right and all the way up,
Okay.
then
It's not that it's a late game button as much as it is. I thought I was near the end when I got it, and then the couch kept moving back.
I also thought I was near the end.
and the
when I
couch
got it.
kept moving back.
And
yeah.
then I fell into.
No, so that's not true.
Then I fell into 6 more zones in half an hour because I got to that
Did you get the walk into a zone?
walkout.
Yeah, it's just not now. I can't. I can't right now.
There's one particular, people who watch the stream, so there's one particular tram ride that you can take in which you go west and you're like, nah, and then you go down, you're like, nah, and then you go east, you're like, huh? No! And then you go up and you're like, oh, it's the bottom of this shithole! So then you take the tram east again and you go, I don't know where this is! I don't even know where I'm.
Pick one, fucker. Pick one and just start digging.
Parts of that game, you enter into a zone and your icon disappears off the map.
Oh, it's gone.
Because
It's figure it out.
that game's great.
Exploration.
That game's great.
Exploration. But yeah, streaming. Gotta stream it.
What is that only on PC and Switch?
I mean,
No, I think it's on. I think it's on everything.
I don't
I
know.
thought I saw it on Xbox.
Let's find out. But it's a fantastic fucking game,
And
and it really does like it's like you take a fucking half an hour chunk out of the middle of that stream anywhere, and it's just probably not unwatchable, but goddamn annoying after a while. Switch, Mac OS, Windows, Linux.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, I thought I.
And I'm very happy at the time that I chose to start playing this because that Godmaster, by the way, it's Godmaster now.
Godmaster.
Is
Gods and Glory was
it's taken by some
mobile shit.
They're like, it's gonna add a bunch of bosses and a bunch of shit. And you know, did you look down the feature list of what that shit adds?
What else?
Multiplayer,
Oh fuck!
like
Invasions?
like 4-player co-op
Oh my god!
for the whole game,
Oh my god!
and New Game Plus,
Sure.
and
Surprised that wasn't there to start with.
Oh wow! Bosses are not even. Now it's just Guacamelee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-player.
Holy shit, Hollow Knight. That's fucking crazy.
and
That's fucking nuts.
wow, it's really impressive. And then I found out, I don't know how I missed this, that it is a Kickstarter game.
Yeah. And well, did you find the room?
No,
So when Wooly said, "Hey, it was a Kickstarter game," like
Let me try that
ago, you
again.
didn't.
I remember him talking about finding a room that was the Kickstarter game, but then upon playing it, the idea that it was a Kickstarter game kind of floated away.
Fair enough.
But did you see what I was talking about?
I have
where
not found it.
You get the Y button.
I have not found the particular room you were describing.
Okay, it's okay. Well, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, that's a good game.
shout out to Team Cherry. They're not stopping.
Is that their first game?
I don't know. But they clearly are shovel knighting it. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Team Cherry for the most effective dickhead NPC in a game ever. you're talking about.
Guy that talks like that.
No.
Oh, well, there's a bigger dickhead than whoever you're talking about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. I don't... It's possible you never encountered the dickhead I'm describing.
Oh, is it a DLC thing, man?
Nope. But it's something that only triggers once you do a certain series of actions.
I don't know. There's a really huge dickhead that's intended to be a dickhead. I don't know if you've met him yet.
I'm gonna message you on Twitter right now. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna...
Okay.
I'm just gonna...
Anyway, so
I'm just gonna make...
looking at Team Cherries. Oh, yeah. That's
the worst.
That's not the worst.
Well, wow, that was pretty bad.
That was
pretty bad.
Yeah, there is a piece of shit in this game, but that is far from the biggest piece of shit. Team Cherry is an Australian studio publisher of the game Hollow Knight, and yeah, it looks like it is their first game. Looks like it is. Yeah, there's a bigger dick, dude.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
That's incredible. I can also see now, I spoke to a friend of mine at length about this who's also been playing the game. I now very much understand your feeling of, is this DLC?
Unclear. Because a lot of it's just integrated.
So I looked, and a friend of mine said, it's like those areas were not even called out in the DLCs that they came as a part of. They weren't even included onto your existing complete map with a little question mark or a little, like, undrawn line. They were just added, and some of them are hidden. There's one that I found where I'm like, that's the DLC. That guy over there, that's a DLC guy, and I was right. But
there's a really obvious one.
in the upper left of the map, there's a guy lying on the ground, and it's like, I'm dressed like a DLC character.
And you're like, okay, that
buddy.
guy. Sure.
But the rest, it's like...
So, I was gonna say, I guess, one other thing I was wondering is, you said you didn't touch a ton of bosses.
I have touched very few bosses. I think I want to
Startlingly
say
surprising.
4 or 5 total.
That's nuts.
Including one that it was 100% hidden.
You just zigged all the places you should have zagged to get those,
Yeah.
I guess. But you fought Virgil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who...
Voigel.
Wow. That's the best Virgil in a while.
It's a really strong one.
That's a really good one.
Yep.
And then after that, someone said, oh, I wonder when her DLC campaign is going to come out. And I was like, oh, man, that's...
I didn't even think of playable. That would be
completely different. And then I looked at the press release they put out, so there'll be completely different abilities, top to bottom, every single thing.
That would be so fun. Just in terms of movement. Wow, that'd be nice.
Yeah, you know why? Because it's going to be Bionic Commando.
Yeah. yeah.
That's
right
why.
on.
Yeah, that's the best game I played in a long time. I don't know if it counts as something that I did, but I just finished watching, like, right before the start of the podcast, NVIDIA's god-awful fucking Gamescom show where they're announcing their new video cards. And they did something that is probably the most disingenuous thing I've seen forever.
Really, before you go, I just want to say it's like, I'm never going to be at a spot in my life where I'm like, they're announcing the new cards. Dude, you see it? Like, if you're into that, like, more power to you.
Yeah.
But it's like
Well, it makes the video games look better.
it sure does, but it's not a video game.
No, but that's like...
It could be anything. It's like, hey, this can
Expansion pack.
makes it better.
Expansion pack.
You know, it's like Nintendo's announcing the new expansion pack.
Now, the game is always a more exciting thing than the hardware announcement, but...
Well, unless you're a crazy person and love your hardware and making the
But I love my hardware because of the game.
It's
Well, yeah, but like there are games right now that I can't run at the settings I want, so I want a new card, so I don't know what the new card's going to cost and what it can do.
Even with consoles, though, if they show us a console, it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, you never work gearhead for it.
But like, even if it has good specs, and I know it, at least I know, like, a little, like, yeah, those are good specs, but I'm like, if they just have a rotating Xbox, whatever, or a PS5, I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Well,
Where the fuck are the games?
like, again, as someone who's, like, built my shit, you know, like, I definitely understand, like, the excitement.
It's not excitement. It's
Then what
I
is it?
want a new card, I want to know how much they cost and what they do.
But I guess I just mean if there's something you're running that you can't run at the settings you want, I assume you would just get the thing that would make it run at the settings you want.
That's correct.
So eventually
But you need to know when that's coming out, what it costs.
Very rarely these days. I mean, I guess there was a time when it would be more often, but very rarely these days I feel are they making settings that are now outside of the realm of what you can handle.
It's actually
until
really
this is released, right?
No.
Like, remember when they used to have games where it's like this super setting?
Totally. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about kicking up the resolution and the frame rate and keeping all of the settings at their highest.
It's really similar to a guy getting really hyped when they announce a new car.
Yes, absolutely.
He's like, I want to go at this speed and be able to turn this way and having the acceleration be like this.
I can crank a little bit, and my engine is currently a beast, but I can get a little bit more out of that, right? For the space, for the weight, I can do a bit
If
more.
I inject the blood of legendary creatures into the car,
Also,
I can surely go
I
faster.
should mention that there are actual experiences of games that come out that run like shit out the gate because they require too much juice. One of those right now is Monster Hunter on PC. It requires I have
Jurassic
about
Park
as
Trespass.
I have about as high end of a PC as you can get from before this shit, and I am kind of sad at the way Monster Hunter runs on my rig because it's buggy and it needs to be patched. But the final thing I want to say, the reason why that thing was bad, they spend nearly 3 hours talking about those features that you turn off when you go into options.
Like as soon as you go
instant you go in, hey, you want to play Witcher? Oh man, the game defaulted to making Geralt's hair really flowy. Turn that off. Right? And this is like, look, there's this new technology we invented for shadows. We're going to spend 2 hours talking about it, even though it's going to be the first thing you turn off in every game you play.
So this is what
because it costs 10 FPS.
This is what made the show so shitty?
No, what made this show so shitty is you get to the end and they show you the performance chart, and the performance chart is just a big lie. It is a big statistical lie because they're like, we need to figure out a new way of measuring performance. So they invent a new term on stage for performance.
Ooh.
Then they measure how much faster the new cards are compared to the old ones. In terms of the new performance, this thing is 10 times, 20 times stronger than the old card in terms of RTX ray flops.
This is the new term?
I forget the fucking thing. It's total nonsense. And it's like,
I want it.
Performa. Right? And it's like,
maxed out the Performa
of your car. When doing this type of operation, it's 100 times faster. And you're like, but it's not. How much faster is it? No, really though.
Is it video?
Yeah.
Are they being controlled via Mirage?
No, they have no
Clearly,
competition.
Jarnef has got his new hands in the GeForce fucking shit. My problem is I want that GeForce experience to just go back to the simple thing it used to be. The more and further we go into this world of, like, you want to get to Shadowplay, you have to go through our social media experience that is GeForce.
Well, there is one genuinely really useful thing about GeForce Experience, and that's, that part where you hit optimize your game for whatever.
And auto does.
That's really useful when you accidentally fuck up your settings so bad you can't get to the options menu anymore.
Okay.
Like you set your resolution either so high or so low or some bullshit that when you turn the game on, you can't find the option. You know when the game just explodes out past the edge of your screen
and you can't your save? Like,
but it's easier to just go into that and click a button and send it back to like 1080.
Okay, that's useful. But I still hate the fucking, sign in with your Facebook and Google to just get to your settings.
No, don't sign in with your
First
Facebook.
of all.
Don't do that.
Literally,
sign in with both.
But it's like no button works until you signed in and something.
Make a throwaway
I know. But I'm like, step one of me trying to use my video card settings should not be sign in, right? That's already a horseshit thing that they're fucking throwing in.
Right.
And then the fact that Shadowplay was then it's unavailable actually because you get the installer off of their website, and the thing that you install off of their website is just the basic shit.
Yeah.
It's only when you go into the fucking the full internal update that you get Shadowplay back and whatnot. And I'm like, why don't you just make the exe that I download from your website the most up-to-date version and call it a day? Like, it's just getting more and more up its own ass with these settings and shit, and it's like, What happened to fucking right-click, go to shadow play, and just set your settings?
Wow, you sound like an old man.
It's really they're tacking on so much unnecessary bullshit. It's really stupid. I find for like video card settings, I don't need all that.
No, you don't. For GeForce Experience, no. And in fact, like improved user control is often completely outside of that program through like display settings and that shit, right? That whole thing that you just like, that is for people that don't know what we're talking about right now. Like that is for, yeah, you know what, honestly, that's for Matt. Matt gets a new video card and goes, I want Fortnite to look good. Boom.
Well,
I mean,
sure. I mean,
it's
just another game, but yeah, whatever.
No, Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite.
But it's not even from a like I don't know what's going on anymore, as much as a like I know what you're doing and I hate it. And what you had before was a simple menu that was settings that I needed.
Well, that menu continues to exist, and the only reason you deal with the only reason you have to deal with GeForce Experience is because you use ShadowPlay, which immediately puts you outside of the realm of most consumers.
I mean, no, I was actually having I was troubleshooting an issue just this weekend because
just now.
Because the fucking, for some reason, the NVIDIA audio drivers on my computer are causing it to sound like a demon is talking every
That's
now
awesome.
and then.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
That's a bug I want to reproduce.
So every once in a while listening to audio on anything, it should.
Don't invite your mom over.
That sounds like it's your real
Just
thing.
throw it out.
Fucking weird and gassy.
That's cool.
And and I'm like,
Been blessed.
and I'm fucking around in my device manager, and then like anytime I'm doing something in there, it's fine, and I'm updating, I'm trying different drivers out and whatnot, and then I'm fucking jumping over to the GeForce Experience to fuck around there, and anytime I have to do anything in that thing, it's just a piece of shit now. And I remember when I first had to do it like 3 video cards ago, and it wasn't even remotely that close to an annoying thing.
Like we've already established, I'm far stupider and far like my needs are much more basic.
I wouldn't say that you're dumb or mad. I'd say you're uninterested.
No. Let me finish. Then
Okay,
you'll agree with
okay.
me. My needs are a lot more basic. Well, tell me when Nvidia announces that their cards will be shipping in big dumb boxes with stupid heroes on the front with lasers.
Yeah.
And every
Get all those characters in.
I want all of those guys.
I still have some of those
doing
discs.
that, didn't they?
Yeah, but I
well,
still
they
have.
went out with Voodoo and shit.
Yeah, but I still have some of those discs with the characters on
If
them.
Nvidia shipped this shit in that box, I'd get a new card every week.
Here's the other
Special edition. Collect
Yeah.
them all.
new fucking Vioblader
Yeah.
on the cover of your video card.
I can't believe you got so excited for that video card, but if video cards were amiibos.
If they had little amiibos of fucking Razor Whip and boob titties.
Well, I'll tell you, it definitely isn't on the box anymore, and there's no CDs, because who the fuck is doing that? But it lives on in the installer. Because when you click on the installer, it'll pop up, and the image will still pop up, and you'll get one of those render fucking characters
even
in there.
Elgato, when you saw Elgato, there's always this guy that looks like Garrett from like Thief.
Yeah. They were still in there. They exist.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, though.
Accelerator card heroes.
Dude, even though, like, all that shit is above your fucking, like, caring and understanding, I've gotten to the place, too, where having done and, like, built my shit.
I'm gonna say design these characters.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So I have gotten to a place of like, all that pride means nothing. I'm just gonna buy a complete thing. You know, like especially when you can just click and ship it.
Oh, it's the same thing. They announced a $68,000 console.
Yeah, sure.
Which,
now when it's console, what is that?
It's a PC that's $3,000 easy payments of $19.95.
You know, there's some fun and pride to be taken from being in the garage working on the old fucking car, and it's on blocks, and you're putting the things together.
You got grease on your for some reason.
Yesterday, in preparation for getting a new card, I went in and cleaned the whole thing out, and then moved some of my hard drive cages around, and felt like, I removed that extra hard drive cage I didn't need.
All it really amounts to nowadays is when something breaks, instead of just grabbing it and taking it down to the shop, I know I can open it up and do a little troubleshooting first before that. But
the answer is,
before I give up,
I need the guts of another Dreamcast to fix this.
Always gotta mix with that potentiometer, man. It's the only thing that'll keep the CD.
How many Dreamcasts does it need to fix this computer?
7. That's where I capped out.
That's good.
I had 6. I thought I was done, and then I had a working 6th, And then someone came into my old work and was like, "Yo, I'm selling a Dreamcast." I'm like, "Fuck you, I'm taking it." I just bought it
need
anyway.
a new coffee table.
You know, it just became habit after a point.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Let me think.
This console doesn't do anything. What does it do?
Played Warframe, but there's nothing new in Warframe.
Does it run Crisis?
No,
So
it can't.
you want to hear something about where can it run Crisis? You know why that's such a question for so long, and it's about Crisis, not Crisis, and even sequels?
Crisis 3.
It's because Crisis is so badly optimized that nothing can ever run Crisis well.
It's Crisis' fault.
It's Crisis's fault.
Yeah.
It's Crisis on
Which
Crisis.
is actually happening with Monster Hunter right now. Monster Hunter PC port, people dive into it and they look like, because the story is that basically the devs from Monster Hunter were really honest. They were like, listen, we don't know how to make PC games, and the people who would do this at Capcom are doing DMC and RE2 because those are more important, I guess. And we'll learn how to do it. And then it comes out that it's like, oh, Monster Hunter divides the CPU into 32 different tasks?
Oh, when you do your fucking end task and you look at the list, is it just
No, it creates 32 different threads, even though no one really has a processor over 8 cores. And then your processor just chokes on it, and various other little things of like, why would anyone do this? Oh, because they don't understand non-static architecture. These are people that have been working on 3DSs for like a decade.
And then they took one step out of that world into the world of fucking.
And they're like, well, we don't know how many cores they're how we just split everything into its own task, right? Oh, it's weird. That's apparently getting a bug fix either today or tomorrow. I've now dived deep into when is this game getting a patch. Let me check the Steam database to see if the QA patch went through in the goddamn database update. It did. It'll be out this week probably.
Thank God DMC4 Special Edition was the Training Wheels PC version that they fucking got to brush up their current gen skills on.
Yeah.
Compared to the last ones and whatnot, because
Was that port fine?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. And that is
not as good as the original version, however.
But it's a good sign that 5 on PC early is not going to be too much of a problem. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, if it's the same fucking people, right?
Here's up.
That being said, it feels more at home playing on a PlayStation console.
Just use the PlayStation controller, change the in-game
Exactly.
icons, then you fool yourself.
But it feels like it belongs on the PS4.
I mean, back in the day,
It sounds like it belongs on the PS1.
Hey,
Yeah.
back in the day, PC game boxes were obnoxiously huge.
Yes.
And the art would therefore be obnoxiously huge.
I
And
love
that's
my-
why my favorite version of Metal Gear Solid is the PC one. Because I got that giant
It's
box
also why I
for it.
marked out at some convention where someone gave us, remember the PC version of Street Fighter 2?
Yes.
Huge black
Huge
box.
box.
Huge Arta Blanca.
It's
and,
the equivalent of a vinyl, right?
awesome. Yeah,
Where
yeah.
You just get a nice piece of
Just
art
cut
with
that
it.
shit
My
out.
I
favorite
did.
era of
Yeah, I
the
did.
PC buying experience was, God, what year was this? 1999. It was. I remember my favorite box shape, and the one that I bought was the Warcraft 3 expansion because it was the size of a large book, but it wasn't the giant magazine.
I know the
size
size.
box.
I know what you're talking about.
And it wasn't a fucking jewel case.
The Blizzard size.
Yeah, was that just Blizzard?
It's the one I recognize. I identify
Right.
with them because
It
all
was,
their
it
games
was
were
about
that size.
6 to 8 inches tall, and it had the book in it, and then you would open up the front, and it would be hard good cardboard stock, and it would be
motherfucker.
glossy on the inside.
Motherfucker,
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to talk about formats? The fucking box for Mech Warrior 2 back in the day? Mech Warrior with the
I don't think
fucking...
I've ever seen it.
The Mad Cat on the cover, and then you had the bumps, because it was not only good cardstock, but it had the imprint of the Mad Cat mech with the fire in the background. It was... And you opened that shit up, and it was smooth.
It's all digital now. You kids
And
don't know.
And it had this shiny font on it, and then when they came out with Ghost Bear's Legacy, they continued the same sort of trend as well.
It sucks because the closest you can get is if there's a big release, it's like, get this red, ugly Spider-Man PS4. No!
Also, I already have a PS4.
Yeah, if I want Spider-Man, that's for people that obviously don't have a PS4, but
I just go, Spider-Man!
if I play it digitally, paint my CD red, I don't know, Maximum Carnage.
Maximum
Just
Carnage
sells
is
it.
red. I still remember the Max Carnage case to this day because it had that big, ugly red cartridge.
I mean, it was ugly like Doom outside a red cartridge.
So
that's ugly.
The MechWarrior 2 box.
I
had-
remember this art.
Yeah, so like the Mad Cat on the cover was like embossed, right?
Yeah.
You could feel it, and then like it's straight, and it had like the gloss on it and stuff like that, and then it was straight up like was like a booklet that you could open out and see the inside cover as well.
And
It was
this is what, like 92?
oh god.
Let's say it's 92.
H.
I like how the fucking fire explosion in the background looks like the dumb cheese explosions from Mighty Number 9.
Oh yeah. That's MechWarrior 2's box is
amazing.
classic, and then they did the same thing for the expansion pack and then Mercenaries as well. They just continued
That's
the trend.
cool, because it's all
Quality boxes, y'all. That's what PC games were back in the day, and it was huge. It was
You were paying a premium price on premium hardware, but you felt like you got a premium thing when you picked it up off the fucking shelf.
Yeah, just don't worry about what happens when you open the box and pull a little sleeve out, you know?
And super don't worry about when you get it home, and despite the fact you meet the recommended specs, you don't have some obscure Microsoft driver that never got released over the internet just so the game doesn't work. So it just doesn't work.
I remember when Sons of Liberty came out as well, there was two versions they sold. It was the CD version and the DVD version. And, like, if you picked up the CD version, you got, I think, like 8 CDs of installing to do. Because you know how, like, well, or like Alone in the Dark on floppy disk, it's like disc 1 of 27.
I remember-
Back in the day, it's like just
I
fuck
remember
yourself.
talking to a friend of mine who laughed at me because I got the CD version of World of Warcraft, so it took all day to install.
Yeah.
And they had the DVD version of World of Warcraft, and they were in there.
I don't know how late the floppy game went, but they were putting out boxes with, again, above 25 to 30 floppies to fucking install one after the other.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
To get your
That's awesome.
to get your not even Alone in the Dark, but like your fucking Phantasmagoria on.
Yeah, oh yeah,
you know?
no, an FMV game, it would be like, no, an FMV game couldn't even go on a fucking floppy disk.
or maybe it was
There's a bunch of CDs though.
Gabriel Knight.
Maybe.
There's something along those
Early
lines.
Gabriel
Something along
Knight.
those lines where I'm thinking of just like obnoxious amount of discs. And it's that's all day. You're not doing anything else this afternoon. Fuck you. You're sitting and installing discs, and if you walk away, you're gonna come back to waiting for the next disc. So it's just gonna take
I
longer.
think they're gonna bring back Gabriel Knight, but then it's Kickstarter or whatever, like fucking failed, I think. Let me check.
No.
Oh, well.
Knight's cool.
And the only other thing to note is that I finally, because the second season's coming quite soon, I finally got around to watching that 4-episode Castlevania series over on the Netflix. That's pretty good. Only downside, I guess, is that you get. I would have felt really bad if I got to the end of that without knowing there was a second season coming, because it ends and
It's
goes.
the most.
Now we're off to go do the plot
No.
because we didn't do shit today.
The voice actors are just new folks. Or
No,
I don't recognize them.
The guy that plays Trevor Belmont.
Oh, did
is-
you not see it?
No.
Oh, it's great. You should watch
Yeah,
it.
no, I know.
No, he was talking about he's gonna have plans. The guy that plays Trevor Belmont is the played Thorin Oakenshield in the Hobbit movies, like so the main battle
Okay.
dwarf.
But
He's
like
done other shit.
Robbie Belgrade isn't fucking coming in for Alucard, I imagine.
I think.
Because if so, that'd be great.
There's a real sense of pacing to this. Of we only have 4 episodes, so there's no reason to hurry this stuff along. So, like, first episode 1, Dracula introduced. Episode 1, 5 minutes later, good reason for Dracula to be mad. Episode 1, 10
Yeah, it
minutes
is a good reason.
right? 10 minutes in, Castlevania start now. Like, just absolutely no waste of time at any point.
Dracula's played by Graham McTavish, who played Dante in Dante's Inferno game. And he was also the super badass, pissed off British soldier in Rambo 4. The one that was like just swearing like a sailor and was bald.
Well, he definitely plays that up in this. Animation quality's great. Voice acting was great. The best thing Konami ever does now is let other people use the stuff.
Use their license.
And it's very clear that people who made this really care a lot about, at the very least, Castlevania 3, because all the little details. Like there's a throwaway 2-second shot of I have to throw something to cut this rope. You know, the same action thing that you've seen every time. A guy happens to steal a hand axe from somebody and throws it, and the arc is bizarre. the arc is nonsense.
But it's
because
accurate.
it's a Belmont throwing the axe.
Perfect.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just this 2-second little shot. It means nothing in the grand... And most people go, oh, the axe moved weird. But no, it actually moved in a really bizarre sideways parabola.
That it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, no, the end of that...
Does anyone hold a whip out and just start spinning it as if the damage
Yes.
from the whip would do anything?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Cool.
But the end of that first season is straight up, okay, gang, let's go get Dracula in the next season. Please talk about this on social media so we can get a second season.
Is there a hashtag that automatically fills out?
Fucking feels like it, man.
1300. All of you.
Like
that
Netflix
support it.
automatically links up to your Twitter and just goes tweet out the hashtag.
But it especially seems weird because it's only 4 episodes, you know? Like, that's
Yeah.
it feels even stranger when they just kind of stop.
Yeah.
If it was like 12 episodes,
It's a
and you have
British
like a
season.
whole... What?
It's a British season.
No, it is a test.
Yeah, it's a test.
It is a test for sure. Because like the first 4 episodes deal with absolutely nothing that you.
It's all set up.
They don't
All
go
set up.
to Castlevania.
It's all set up. It's all set up.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the country of Castlevania.
Right. And there's like I want to actually talk a little bit about more in detail because there's a lot of, but because I assumed everybody saw it, but there's a lot of little details in that there's a lot of little speeches by characters that
Yeah.
are better than they should be.
Okay.
In particular, Matt, you watched it, right?
Yeah, I watched it when it came out.
The speech between the monster and the dude in the church.
I don't care about Castlevania spoilers.
Okay,
personally.
there is like one of the weirder things is like, okay, this takes place in the in the Middle Ages, right?
Yeah.
It has to, right? Dracula is real, supernatural shit is real. The church has to be a part of it because holy water and consecrated whips and crosses,
Yeah.
right? It's a big deal, but they also were shit asses at the time and are somewhat villainous. And what? So how do you actually like fix those two things at the same time? If that character's a villain and he's a cardinal, then how can the cross hurt Dracula?
Right.
And the answer is because he's a bad person and it doesn't work. Because he's a bad person, all this shit doesn't work. But that random NPC that's just a priest,
Who has a heart of gold.
he can make holy water no problem.
Yeah,
Like, and just, okay, solved. That's how we can have just a bunch of shitty human characters. Yeah, it's great. It's fucking fantastic. I'm very excited for second season.
I like this new trend called Japanimation. I think it can go places.
Goes
Oh,
pretty far.
that's the thing, is the demon comes into a church, and he goes, you can't come in here, it's the house of God. He goes, God's not here.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? It's like God left you because you're a bad person, so we can come in. It's like, okay, that's all the little thing, and then
And when you're not a bad person, you can do that crazy henshin shit where Simon floats in the air and crosses just surround him.
No,
Was it
Richter's the one who learned how to
Richter
do
does
that.
Never mind. Okay.
Richter learned how to do that
And
like
you- and
200
it's
years
like-
later.
You can do what with
Grand Cross, man.
Faith can do what? Yeah. That shit's nuts.
I really
Remind me to go back to church.
When did Jesus teach that shit?
Maybe this is just me, but I'm
by
certain
vampires.
other people will appreciate it. But you have your vampire hunter of that era, or your Helsing or whatever, and I love the idea of that character not being religious and not caring about the church, but they're like, but crosses work though. Holy water it burn. They don't like it. Oh no, I don't go to church. But this symbol on my whip, stab it better.
But if I don't have faith, it's
No,
no
it's
work.
not even. It's not even. It's not even about faith.
It's the guy that made it.
I think like the whip is consecrated by a human person or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
so like if you're a good person and I'm a shit ass and you make it, but I then use it,
Yeah,
it'll still
it'll
work.
still work.
Yeah, okay.
Well, because it's a physical item that was given.
well, because the
above.
idea is that
Right.
a cardinal or a bishop is supposed to bless them personally, the area around them. But if they're a shit ass, then the blessing don't work. It's the same thing we were talking about like 3 weeks ago.
With the fucking-
But
with
you
the-
see it actually, and you see the failure points.
With the fire hydrants.
Probably the weirdest thing about watching that is there are a shit ton of assholes that look just like me in that. A bunch of bald, red-headed guys with beards are massive dickheads in that fucking show. And they get it. the guy who looks the most like me gets it so bad. And it's like, It's uncomfortable to see. I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
Cool.
But yeah, you should watch it.
Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. This week, the Friendcast is sponsored by the only friend you need in the bathroom, Dollar Shave Club.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah.
That phrasing made my mind go
That's the point.
You can shave wherever, though.
I mean, you can just go to the bathroom on your own, but if you go to the bathroom at Dollar Shave Club, then you'll leave looking, smelling, and feeling better.
smoother.
They got shower stuff, hairstyling products, toothbrushes, toothpaste, razors, shave supplies, you name it, they got it, and it always gets shipped to your door, so you don't have to worry about heading on down to where your local fucking jail prison, aka the pharmacy.
And to get, like, screwed over by Big Razor.
You know, or even, and you know what, we used to talk about how crappy they teach you like shit when you want to buy a razor. Now it's
I was almost handcuffed when I tried to buy some razors at a pharmacy.
You turn around, there's a shelf of shampoos that are just like, you're like, what do I even, I bought soap. I wanted shampoo. What did you don't have to worry about any of that mess because they send it to you and it smells great. I'm still going through my lavender body wash. It's good stuff. And of course, you got the One Wipe Charlies. If you're still using
Hey, are you out of that too?
I'm still using them.
Okay.
And if you're using toilet paper, you're living like a caveman. That's all I gotta say. Everyone's got their own way to get ready, so why not get ready with Dollar Shave Club by heading on down to dollarshaveclub.com/friendcast. You can pick your own DSC starter set for just $5. I recommend the Daily Essential Starter Set because it's got that lavender body cleanser. Can't go wrong with any of the choices though. They got an amazing deal right now if you head on down, and products ship at a regular price. Check out their new video too. They were the guys that did that.
I see these ads in America.
Yeah, they did the wacky CEO walking through the factory, and then the bear's involved, and it was good stuff.
Yeah, that bear.
Yeah, so that's dollarshaveclub.com/friendcast. dollarshaveclub.com/friendcast. Thanks, Dollar Shave Club.
Thanks, DSC.
Thank you.
Podcast is also sponsored by the Predator Triton 700. Once again, as we were just covering
video card shenanigans.
the excitement that comes with an awesome video card and knowing that those games you like, they can look even better.
There's a genuine Venn diagram of a high-end laptop in which you get to have either people like me who go, what's in this laptop? I'm gonna look at all the things and just salivate over it, versus the people like Matt who go, I want a computer make it go fast.
Computer make go fast.
But both
and they never go fast for Matt.
But both types of people want the same thing. They want it
to go fast now.
They want it thinner, they want it faster, and they want it quieter. And they want it to pack a punch. So that's where you say hello to the Predator Triton 700.
Big cartoon fist just punches you up your game.
It's the best of the best, and it's got hardware that's as versatile as it is strong, including the 7th Gen Intel Core i7 processor. You've got tear-free gaming and pure FPS courtesy of NVIDIA GeForce Tech, so you can become the best with your Predator Triton 700. And of course, the name is the shake a stick at.
I was gonna say, it might not have a cool, dumb-looking hero on the box, but it has a cool name on the
we
box.
don't know. We haven't seen.
I have.
Oh, you have?
It was at,
Those days have moved beyond us. But
but the names were made.
I think the mentality combined with the cool name is that on the box you see a picture of the laptop, and the laptop is the cool.
The laptop itself, there you go. That's the protagonist. If you head on down to Acer.com, click on store, and enter coupon code FRIENDCAST at checkout, you'll get 10% off. That's Acer.com with code FRIENDCAST for 10% off. Thanks, Acer.
Thank you, Acer.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well,
Hey ho.
Hey, what up?
Well, so talking about blame it on the... Actually, no, I'll get to that in a minute. Because there's definitely a blame it on the game
whatever you like
segment. But, yeah, I had a couple things this week. One, went in, got the next piece of my tattoo done. So, I'm now looking at 2/7 of my back covered.
Wow,
I'd say.
that's weird. That's
Yeah,
going to be a
never heard
long
that.
work, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You say when you divide it into 7s.
But basically, the bottom left and the bottom right are done.
Okay.
And what remains is the bottom middle, and then the top 3, and then like a finishing touch type of thing. So, went and got that done, and yeah.
It's going to take like a year to get the whole thing.
Well, no, I'm waiting about 2 weeks between each session.
Oh.
Because that's
that's the recommended time.
That's you want to heal, and then once you're good to go, then you can go back and sit down. Sometimes what I realized, sometimes some days are just different. And I went in, and the first time around, it was totally fine. And we were around the time I hit the 3-hour mark, it was like she's like May was basically like, yeah, okay, like about 3 hours is where you can be like, okay, you're starting to sweat. It's getting a little intense. You can stop now type
What
of
do
thing.
you just chat, or you listen to music, or what?
Yeah, so it depends. Last time I threw on a podcast, we just chat the whole time.
Okay.
This time around, I threw on the Netflix adaptation of the comic I Killed Giants. Which
yeah,
I read back in the day, and I liked the comic. The movie, unfortunately, didn't
so much,
have
huh?
the budget that it needed to make this story compelling. I feel like
Didn't have the main actress to make it compelling. I'm gonna say off the bat, she's annoying.
you watched it.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's that actress or whatever. Like, I don't know who
Annoying
it is.
kid actress doing thing,
Like,
right?
She's not even kid. She's like, she must be like, late teens, early 20s maybe, but like,
But she's
so
just
irritating.
whining her way through the whole movie.
And it doesn't stop really
and,
until
like-
like maybe the last scene.
And the thing is, the vibe. So it's the main
Yeah,
gist of
sorry,
the
yeah.
gist of the story. I Kill Giants is basically outsider teenage girl is the weirdo, but she's the weirdo because she protects the world from giants and titans.
Yeah.
And she battles these things, and like.
And the movie plays with the ideas that is she actually
Battling
imagining
them, or
are
what's
they
going
real?
on?
Because it does do that well, where it's making me maybe I don't know. And I didn't read the book, so the comic, so I was like, I'm interested in this and this.
And so the vibe you're supposed to get from reading it is that she's like a smarmy, sarcastic kid that's kind of just like fuck off, like with your stupid patronizing bullshit, like the adults that are being really shitty. Like she just has a smarminess to her, and whatnot. But in general, it never comes across as whiny and annoying. But unfortunately, in the live action, it gets completely sold and
Because
conveyed
there's
that
more
way.
elements, and like there's a voice, then there's like cadence, and
Yeah.
there's, like,
so something that you end up thinking of a character as like kind of like just like a Clementine going about her business and being like, fucking leave me alone, although Clementine's nicer than that, obviously. In this adaptation, it just ends up being like a yay, and I'm like,
Plus,
oh
her
man.
family is like messed up, and she has an older sister who's like struggling to make ends meet, and she's just like, I felt more empathy to that big sister.
Yeah, so I will say that when it comes to I Kill Giants, go read the source material,
Like, it
cause
still looks nice and shot well. It's like competently made. It's just
and they had their CG budget was limited,
Yeah.
in the sense that like it's not that what they had looked awful. It's more that they just didn't have a whole lot of it.
so there's a lot of scenes where things are happening, but you don't see them.
Yeah, run from the shaking camera.
Oh, I hate that.
Also, well, you know what's really fucked up about that movie for me personally? Who is the baseball player that she idolizes?
I don't even remember because I was also getting tattooed at the time.
I'll fucking remember, because his name is like Bob Kovaleski.
Okay.
Said the exact same way.
Oh yeah, your name. Yeah.
This is the first time
Yeah.
I've ever seen any
Kovaleski
fiction
is their thing.
that
yeah.
says it not Kowalski.
Yeah.
It's spelled so differently.
Yeah.
And that's how you get to say it, but I was just like, every single time, I was like, fuck, because I never hear it every day. It's not like your name.
Kovaleski.
Yeah, God, and it was annoying too, though, just her saying.
Yeah. So I was surprised to see it up there, and unfortunately, that's what happened. But anyway, it's still a good comic. But no, I was gonna say that like some days you feel fine and you can go in and do your time, and other days it's hard. So I went in and I had a little sniffle, and May was like, "Is that a sniffle?" And I was like,
"You can't sneeze,
yeah,
dude."
And no, it's not about sneezing.
Okay.
But I mean, I did. I went once and I was like, "Stop," and she's like, "Okay," and I went, and then it was fine. So you're
because that would be just
don't do that.
Why are you goofy?
But it's more along the lines of. It's more along the lines of if you are. It's more along the lines of if you are slightly sick, right? Or like your constitution is not what it usually is, and it makes the healing process different.
Sure.
And also your body is dealing with that. You don't have the same stamina that you usually would. So like your pain tolerance and your ability to just stand there and like take it goes down.
Yeah.
When I got that jaw infection, because I had a cold for like a week and a half leading up to it, and like the guy was like, "That's really good reason why you probably got that."
Yeah.
So because you're already weak.
You
and
had
shitty.
some pinprick in your mouth, and you got sick, and then you got weak, and then the infection was like,
Yeah, this is the time.
So we get big in Matt's mouth, he said. Infection.
So May was like, "Yeah, okay, we'll just do a lighter session today, no problem." And I was like, "Cool." And like it was also because like the other choice was going straight to the spine, which is gonna suck, from what I'm told. But
Just get it over with.
But either way,
You should have gone all spine at the beginning.
Yeah.
So when I sat down and I was like, okay, cool. About like maybe half an hour in, I was sweating in the same way I was after the third hour of the first session.
That's correct.
And I was like, what is happening? Why is it so different this time? You know, I was like, oh my god. And then she's like, yeah, see, like this is a thing. And I was like, fuck, okay. And she's like, we can stop early if you want. I'm like, no, we're here, let's do it. I don't want to waste your time. Don't want to waste anyone's time. Dude, it's like when you do that for a living, you've seen all kinds of people. At this point, what am I gonna bring to the table?
Nothing.
You know,
I have a stupid
Already
question
not
about
impressed,
tattoos.
so-
yeah.
So my stupid question about tattoos is it not just an option to just knock you completely out and just spend like 20 hours doing it?
I've never
First
heard
of all, I mean, like, doing the whole... So, I was thinking to actually get to something about that, because doing the whole, like, just anesthesia and go thing, it's like, yeah, but one, besides the fact that you need a fucking anesthesiologist to put you under and monitor your shit,
and plus it costs a lot.
Not just get buried with the hammer.
like, the other thing, too, is, like, there would definitely be an effect on your bleeding, and your skin being loose and like not tense at all is actually bad.
Hey, you're getting a... So, by the way, he's getting a big old tattoo on his back in case you haven't figured it out.
Yes.
What are you going to do if you get old and your whole back just becomes like a horrible dark forest of like creepy back hair?
I've never had a ton of back hair.
Yeah, but you're young now.
Yeah.
So are you going to like shave it or what?
It'll still show up. It's the way
I thought you were gonna say
the
just
design
get old and saggy.
The design would still show up through the...
I mean, we're all going to get old and saggy. I mean, that's unavoidable. But
Like, I have a bit of
going.
back hair, but if it ever gets, like, more like the way that it is, it would still show up, so it's not a big deal. But in any case, yeah, it got to that point, and it was kind of like, okay, fuck, this is nuts. I feel like the way I did at the end of the first session almost right away. So I was like, get up, walk around, and then I was saying, like, but what about just like getting blitzed, right? Why can't you just do that?
I don't
and come
think
in,
that's a
right?
very good idea.
Same thing as the anesthesia, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think that's a good idea for completely different reasons. Because, like, if I'm blitzed, my ability to sit still is annihilated.
Oh, well, that wouldn't be the case, but it's more just like it's you know, like the same thing that makes it so that like someone that falls from a high distance while drunk,
Yeah, you get loose.
and therefore is probably safer than someone who tenses up.
Hell yeah.
That same thing applies to tattoos in the reverse way, where it's
Oh,
like
no.
that looseness is bad.
Oh, so
right?
they could accidentally punch through to your organs, or
And,
what?
well, it's not that fucking extreme, but
Well,
it's
you
more
know,
along
I'm trying to-
but it's more along the lines of the looseness that you get from like not feeling it as much and just being like more like
Yeah.
makes it worse for the work that she's doing, right?
Hey, I just had a thought. Do you ever have a really bad headache before you go to these things? Don't take anything before them.
Yeah, don't do that. No. And it thins your blood, right?
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
My dad used to be, because his heart exploded all those times, he used to be on, what's it called, Coumadin, which is like the strongest as blood thinner, and it'd be kinds like paper cut. He's like, well, okay, bye, you gotta deal with this, because like a paper cut becomes a problem when you're on that shit.
So, and then you have to consider as well the fact that like your body needs to then just spend all of its energy healing as soon as you're done. So, but at the same time, it was like, okay, again, like this is going not the way I expected. So I'm like, what about just like the beginning of not getting blitzed, but what about we just loosen up the process a little bit?
Yeah.
So took a shot of JD.
Yeah.
For your nerves. Yep. Walked around a little bit, sat back down, finished that bitch, no problem.
There you go.
Worked out just fine.
See, alcohol was the solution.
It was.
See,
The solution and cause of.
Just don't not to the extreme because
Moderation.
not to the extreme that'll affect the work, but at the very least in terms of just getting a buff that I needed, completely no problem.
See,
Got to the end of the movie, was like, oh, let's put on another one, and she's like, actually, I'm done.
You know what you should do? Because you have 7 parts, you have 5 parts to go right out of 7.
It might be more. I mean, I'm being
well, let's assume
optimistic.
7, right? Let's assume. So you went in sober, then you went in with a little drink. What if next time you went in, I don't know, high on morphine, or ecstasy, or what have you, and you can see the process on your back. It's like, oh, that part came out weird because I was high as balls off stolen drugs.
I'll pop an Ambien.
Yeah.
See where it takes me.
OxyContin.
Stolen.
See where it takes me. Absolutely. Hey,
These are all terrible ideas.
anyway.
Oh, obviously, because they're not me. I don't have to.
More importantly, not more importantly, but like,
I'll give everybody
the
else
thing-
that.
I brought it up last time, but the fact that like a lot of people are like, oh man, how about the healing process? Is it itching? How's it going? And I'm like, I barely even feel it.
Is it just a little sore?
There's nothing there.
Sounds like you're lucky.
And it's because the magic of this, like,
Knock on wood,
there's the second skin thing, right? Where it's just
You have
like
2 skins.
it is a
I knew it!
it is
we
a
do it.
sticker.
He's a lizard.
It's hospital equipment basically.
I like how he's powering through all this shit.
And you put because we have a podcast to record.
I know, it's good, it's good.
So it's a stick. It's kind of like this large sticker, and you cut it, and it's a hospital equipment that you put over like wounds and things like that, and it just lets it heal while keeping it clean. Infection is not a problem, and it can breathe still.
Thanks,
right?
medical technology.
Back in the day when my friend got his big sleeve done, I remember he'd have like saran wrap covering
Yeah, I
it,
always see people.
right? And you've got that saran wrap thing going, and it's
gets-
like that keeps the infection out,
But it gets gooey and gross.
because there's no breathing in there, and then like sometimes the pus and the butt,
Pus on the bud.
grossness. None of that happening with this thing. It's fucking magical.
Reminds me they're using fish skin to help burn victims under similar like properties, where it's like you got to close it off, but you can't seal it off. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you seal off parts of your body, it gets gross in there.
So you
Like,
know,
what if you wore a sealed pair of pants for like a week?
and just never took them off.
Never
under
took
any
it off
circumstances.
because your bathing suit area has to heal.
Yeah, it's important for Wooly.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's happening, and we're getting there. We're getting.
This LP
I'm not-
continues on.
Yes, we'll when I finish and I've gone full Yakuza, then you'll know. But in the meantime,
Does this mean that if you go back to Japan and go to one of the fucking springs,
Yep.
like it's gonna be awkward as shit?
yeah.
Like more than usual.
Yes,
I mean.
it means I'll have to go to the ones that are tattoos are allowed in, which I have a friend who will tell me where they are.
Doesn't that mean that those have a higher concentration of other tattooed ne'er-do-wells?
Probably, but they'll hang out with me.
Okay.
It'll be cool.
That'd be a cool stuff.
They'll rope Wooly into helping them get some guy's dominatrix to treat him better.
Yeah.
I'll,
It took me a second to follow you there.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say he's going to get roped in to having to kill all of the robot babies that aren't robots. But they're robots, though.
Okay.
Yeah, see? It took you a second to get there,
It
but
did.
we get there.
I'll talk to them about GTO, and it'll be good. It'll be fine.
Oh, that reminds
Get my Dragon Quest for me. Beat up Santa.
You know, you can be like Jesus and Buddha hanging out in the baths with those jacuzzis. Nobody saw that? Alright.
No.
I saw it.
And I'll just be like, yo, call me Yasuke.
An anime about the Jesus.
The Wooly Everywhere system.
Yeah.
the modern Yasuke. Anyway, I went to fucking Granby Zoo, because why not?
Yeah, you did! Granby Zoo's the best!
We went up with my Haka Iwi, the group. We all went up for basically the teacher's birthday. She has literally Kristen Bell-esque responses to sloths. So it was like, we're gonna do the pay to get her in there to feed the sloth in the morning and hang out, right?
I don't get the Kristen Bell reference.
I also have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, have you not seen that video of Kristen Bell getting a sloth?
Which one is Kristen Bell again? Is that the Twilight?
She's the one from Veronica Mars.
Assassin's Creed.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a famous video of her on a talk show, I forget which one, where someone brings out a sloth, and she just starts screaming and freaking out.
Like, good or bad?
Good. Like, it's just the cutest thing in the world. She can't handle it. It's an overload type of thing. My teacher loves sloths.
Sure.
So,
I just don't know about this video.
yeah, it was famous at all.
But I get it now.
Anyway, so
did you push the sloth out of the way and put a red panda there instead?
well, here's the thing now. I know that you got to be Panda Dad.
Yeah.
Right? So
well,
this is,
I didn't really.
But this is like Sloth Mom. This is what it was.
Sloth Mom's a good mom, don't worry.
And the way it was set up is like, you know what? When you look at the shop and you look at all the marketing, red pandas are clearly the fucking protagonists.
Yeah.
They know that shit sells.
So tagged.
They were
huge
designed
push.
by God to be plush animals.
And walking around looking, we're like, hey, do you got any sloths anywhere in the store? Anywhere.
Eaten by the panda.
And she's like, there's one mug and one plush. That's it. And like, what about red panda? You're surrounded by them, you know? So it's not to say that like the red panda, because we saw red panda and fuck, those things are cute.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous and the fur is perfect and like the colors is just, it's designed.
I feel like they were designed.
It's a character design, right?
Genuinely looks designed for cute factor.
But it's so over already.
Yeah.
Whereas
so
the
like,
sloth, the only thing sloth's gotten recently, besides that Kristen Bell thing, is the Zootopia gif of the smile in slow motion.
No, but sloths are over on the internet.
You ever seen that sloth T-shirt that you might? Wouldn't really work for a Haka instructor, but it's like a sloth climbing a bunch of bullshit, and it's just live slow, die whenever.
Oh, no, I have not seen that.
That's my favorite piece of sloth merchandise.
It's like, you know, there's certain animals like otters, sloths.
Yeah.
Like, they're over on the internet. Like,
I'm gonna Google sloth reaction.
Yeah, we're watching.
And without audio,
of talk shows,
just to get you guys up to date on this apparent thing, but it was on Ellen. Yeah, so Kristen Bell was on Ellen in 2012.
man, if I was on Ellen, I'd be like, man, I sure love red pandas.
She's talking about
And
getting stabbed by Ezio or whatever.
And she's talking about how much she loves sloths.
Video games.
And then they pull a Mori, and then they bring one out, and she basically has a
she has a little
Okay, I've seen this reaction gif of her. I just didn't know a sloth was involved.
Yeah.
Where is it?
I don't see it. I think they just showed her a video of the sloth.
No, this is the wrong clip.
Don't worry about it. The important thing is that Kristen Bell likes sloths, and that gave Wooly the idea to go to Granby Zoo.
It was.
That's how I've internalized this story.
It was just the fact that she loves them that much, and so we got her melting in that exact way, almost pretty much. It was great. And
did you see that internet video of like yesterday where there's this woman just nuzzling and like just rubbing her head with a cheetah?
Yeah, I did see that.
The greatest.
Yeah. That's actually there's tons of people now that are just like that's their thing is like, yo, I hang out with wild animals, hanging out like that dude that hangs out with the deer.
Or bears.
And it's still, and the deer stole his chain. He put the chain on the deer.
Forever.
And he's like, get back here, Lupita.
Yeah.
You
Man,
know,
you've had cats forever, right? Now that I've had a cat for a year, I look at the videos, you know, the big cats, and they sit in the boxes. And hey, do Zach and Lilu ever do the thing where their eyes get real big and they turn into like vicious assholes and they try and eat you?
No.
Okay. Well, Elmo does that and other ones, and I look at
Canella.
and I look at Elmo and I say, "Oh, if you were like 100 times your size, I would just be food inside you now, because cats need to kill."
Yeah. Well, that's the vibe I got just staring at the fucking
sloth.
Cheetahs and lions just lying down in that exact cat way, where you just look at them and you're like, you're just a large-sized version of the same thing.
Cat way.
Like they lie on their sides in that same kind of cat way.
Sorry, I thought you meant because I think it was Park Safari when you're in a tunnel and all the lions are lying on top of this translucent tunnel and you can like see them.
Yeah, this is Granby has a different setup.
I confuse Safari and Granby all the time.
Well, it's like I remember seeing a couple of years ago of a tiger being given like a box from some Amazonism, and just they need to.
Yeah,
no matter what.
So there was a large box
they need to
that the lion was lying in. Exactly, and like just looking at the way they're moving around and doing their shit, I'm like, when they were just bored hanging out, it's like you're just a cat. Like there's no difference.
And then you're like, oh, cats are really poorly domesticated, actually.
Then Wooly remembers Ghost in the Darkness and respects someone more.
You have that vision of Pierce Brosnan, and you can't.
Michael Douglas.
If you were brave, you would jump into that tiger cage to write "Only dumb assholes sit in this box" on that crate.
There you go. Or you jump over the fence and smack that hippo's ass. Did you see that?
I did not, but is that person alive?
That's the most dangerous thing in the world.
Is that person alive?
They're alive.
That's amazing.
But it's one of those like, you really don't understand what you just did. Like that joke that you went for.
If anyone's
what kills things more than hippos?
In Africa,
Mosquitoes.
I think it's hippos.
Like
in Africa,
what kills things more than hippos? Hippos.
Like it's dude. Like
no, I mean like there is no more.
Yeah,
in Africa.
outside of like plague carrying bugs and weird shit like that. When it comes to just like man versus animal-sized animal, hippo just ruins the human race.
I'll never forgive that fucking movie that said like this is the world's greatest serial killer. He has killed over 1,000 people, and then when the trailer says it's a crocodile. Like I wanted like a serial killer. That doesn't fucking count.
Dude, see, I'm sure we have discussed this on the podcast because I know that me and you will have discussed this at length maybe 10 times. But every time I hear the story that you just told me, I am overcome with a feeling of, I would say, anti-sympathy over any events that occur.
Yeah,
as a result of
when you said, "Is that guy alive?" I almost said, "Unfortunately."
Yeah, and it's not like that's a thing worthy of getting murdered. It's like
the comeuppance.
This is so stupid that if it were to eat you, I would go, well, yeah. It's like, oh, I made a sandwich, then I ate the sandwich.
It's such an obvious death that the fact that it didn't happen is like, wow, okay. It's barely even lucky.
It's the equivalent of like a local man dies after attempting to hang glide with kites off a cliff. You go, like, am I supposed to feel bad?
Hippos murder.
Do you know what kills more than sharks or bears or wolves?
Hippos?
Cows.
Oh yeah, sure.
Anyway,
but we also fucking grow them and have a lot of them hanging around, right?
My grandma. My grandma, who recently passed, rest in peace, Grandma, but she grew up on a farm, and there was a cow that hated her guts, and one day, she was feeding the cows in the barn, and the cow just grabbed its head and just nudged her, and just pinned her against the wall for like 4 hours, because it didn't like her, and she's like, I don't know, 10 or whatever, and just the ability to leave is just not there.
Well, that's the one thing, though, at the very least, if a cow fucking hates you, you can't fight back against the cow, right?
There are a lot of masks.
There's a lot, but what I'm saying is they don't have the fucking raw kill power that a hippopotamus has.
Wait a second, hold on 1 second, Willie. Matt, when you looked up cows, does that include bulls?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not fair.
All right. Want to see the top 10 of animals that kill the most? So number 10, domesticated dogs.
That's completely not shocking at all.
Due to like dogs.
The rabies.
Then the Cape buffalo.
Yeah, sure.
Responsible for about 200 reported deaths a year. Then after that, elephants, about 500 people a year.
Yeah.
And crocodiles, about 1,000 to almost 2,500.
These are all pretty normal so
far. We're going pure tier 2 right now. Tier 2.
Hippo at 6.
Got it.
around almost 3,000 people killed every year.
That's quite a jump.
But it's Africa's most dangerous animal.
Got it.
So above hippo, we have scorpions, snakes, almost 50,000 people killed a year. Testy flies.
Shut up! What is that?
Tsetse.
CC flies.
I like testy better. 500,000 people killed a year.
That's a parasitic.
Mosquitoes at number 2, about 1 million people killed a year.
Yeah, via malaria.
And number 1, the greatest animal of all,
I know where.
human.
We're number 1. We're number 1.
This is also a thing where I'm reading a countdown like a TV show and it goes human. Like,
I thought it would be something cooler than me.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, though, is that when it comes to fucking, like, when it comes to the other shit that's above hippo, it's all, like, venomous shit that's meant to kill you, right?
Ground-based animals
with no special, like debuffs.
with no weapons.
Nothing. It's just raw power. They fucking kill with such veracity.
It's shocking that there was never, like, a TMNT or Street Shark style group that were like hippos.
Only the hungry.
And
the thing
Give me
is,
your marbles.
and they do it with such a rate, and
your head is a marble.
they're so tenacious with it. It's almost like they have a vendetta against humans.
They like to
If you
kill.
guys want to see an animated GIF or video to make you big scared of a hippo, just type in hippo and watermelon, and you'll see people throwing full watermelons to the hippos, which they pop like they are like grapes.
The problem is that baby hippos are also among
They're
one
very
of
cute.
the cutest
And
things.
don't forget about the North American house hippo.
Yeah.
Living in your
There you
closet,
go.
the very small ones, they're very adorable.
It's we were in the Nier Automata LP. We were talking about the speed to kill rating.
Okay.
That things that you get on your mouse traps, 0 to death. But that's a number that can apply to lots of things. And fucking hippos on the speed to kill are way the fuck up.
Hey, would you rather be like horribly torn apart or die via some numbing, burning venom?
I'll take the venom.
I would not want to take
That's.
venom.
I think you're underselling how horrific dying via necrotic or like heart-stopping venom is.
Well, here's the thing: if it's numbing, which is the word you said,
No, he just threw.
I mean, like paralytic, like heart
If I-
explosion.
like if I can't move and I'm feeling numb and it's just wasting away in that state.
Okay, let's remove the numbness.
Okay, well,
All
There's lots
burning.
of poisons.
well, they're both fucking awful. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. But getting ripped apart physically is not
I
something
mean, that's
wanna
obviously bad, right?
feel.
That's
It's
bad.
not a thing I want to feel.
No one's gonna enjoy that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I remember I shit my pants when we were playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and I didn't know that there were hippos in it. Then I saw there were hippos in it,
And you're like, fuck.
and I'm like, this is endgame boss.
Yeah, right there.
How am I supposed to defeat this?
They're legitimately tougher than a lot of the human enemies.
Their aggression levels are high, and they don't target other
And their
things.
mercy is low.
You know how chickens are noble and fair? Hippos are unfair. They're brutal. They're merciless, and they're unforgiving. If the hippo sees you and it didn't kill you last time, it remembers your face and targets you first to finish the job.
Are you aware of the peacock? Yes, noble and fair. Like in terms that it will not kill you if you abide. Like it's a hippogriff in Harry Potter. You have to like bow down to it.
If you have ever went to a zoo and saw a live hippo, you are now on its kill list.
I'll be real.
It has visual memory like
It's
that.
it's going to take its turn.
Scariest
going to all of them.
I'm personally more wary about the deer, just the average ass deer,
Deer was really high on the list.
because and I don't
know why.
We live in an area in which if we just walk for long enough in a direction, there will be deer, and deer have kicked my ass on many occasions. Most of the time as a child. The first of which, of course,
But not all of the
was
time.
at Granby Zoo. But where I went, oh, a deer, and then a baby deer just rocked my shit.
But deer will rock your shit and kick your ass.
Yeah,
A bear will fuck you up.
yeah.
A hippo, will end you. A hippo will end you. There's no other
Yeah, but here's where I'm going with this, right? And this is where you have to play the odds. Wooly, what is your current likelihood of getting damaged by a hippo in your lifetime as you are now?
0.001.
Right? What is your likelihood of encountering a deer that will hurt you in some fashion?
2%.
Like, it's a thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Unlike the hippo. Because you'll be going to an area and they say, we have hippos. And you'll go, no, I'm not. And you'll leave.
And that's why a lot of this comes, and like cows, it's like, okay, when you play the numbers game, how many...
There's cows. There is guaranteed a cow within 20 kilometers of us right now.
Which is why it's like, okay, when you just play the raw
Smelling
numbers,
blood, looking for us.
right? But if you're not playing the numbers game on statistics, you're just factoring in individual kill,
Yeah.
right? What the fuck else takes it?
Going back to the well, to Naked and Afraid, do you remember the black bear episode? And they're like, there's thousands of black bears. I'm like, so fucking what? You were supposed to run at a black bear and they'll fucking leave.
Black bear, notoriously timid, easy to
Super
spook.
coward.
Literally punch it on the nose. It'll
No,
fucking
you have to say, I will punch you on the nose, and it knows what you're talking about.
You want to have a
Yeah,
fun black bear video, just go look up black bear, what are you doing there? It's that guy hanging out in a
Get out
deer
of
stand.
here.
Unlike, no, bear, get away from my canoe. Bear. Oh, why?
I can't believe it's eating my food.
Nah, dude, like,
You need a dog, and your black bear protected for life.
Yeah.
so,
Any other bear, no.
And when
But-
Matt says dog, the smaller the better, because
Yeah.
the smaller, yappier dog will intimidate the bear very much.
So, picture, if you will, that, like, you know, like, in Telltale style, the hippo will remember that.
Yeah.
It's just as your faces are walking by, all of your faces are just getting added to the kill register.
Do you remember, like, in Minority Report, people always have to look up at the camera, and it goes...
That's it.
Like that, exactly.
It's like, if I ever get out of here, I'm probably gonna die first.
Yeah.
But
In
if
the
I
attempt.
but if I don't, I'm coming in the order that I saw you.
I'd love to see a Wolverine in real life,
That'd be fun.
but they're so rare, and like I don't think they're in the. They've been captured.
You know what was fucked up? So Granby, they had porcupines, and
Stink.
they were huge.
Yeah, huge and
I
stink.
thought they were like, because the porcupines I've always seen have been like these little small, almost cat-sized things.
Maybe a small annoyance in a video game.
And the size that they fucking came at, like, it was like you were like almost a goat.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah, they're quite large.
Yeah. That was nuts. Sloths. The other thing with sloths too is like
Claws.
those claws. Like, they will fuck you up
I don't
if they
really-
wanted to.
No sleep, only death.
Don't stick your fingers out. Don't ever point at a sloth.
There's a good chance it'll be able to move in time.
But when they want to, though,
Really?
they have bursts of speed. Yeah.
Okay.
We hung out with Pui Pui for a while.
But is it like Epo, where if it can only do it a couple times and then it'll die?
It's more like when necessary, it'll use that stamina bar to completion,
And it's like
and then it's sitting and waiting on the fucking
for the cooldown.
The cooldown, yeah.
Which
the
is like weeks.
The CD is long. The CD is
Okay,
long.
okay.
We're not gonna pretend it's not.
All right.
But anyway, no, man, it was a good trip, and we saw some crazy shit. What was the most fucked up was there's a place where you can go eat lunch surrounded by giraffes and lions in a whole like African safari kind of field.
What kind of
Yeah,
barrier
cool.
are we talking?
You're up on a height. And the lion one, I looked at the lion one and thought about that tiger one where the tiger jumped out of the barrier at the kid that was being stupid.
The kid who super deserved it?
The stupid idiot.
The one we always think of when we think of that story.
Yeah, that one where the tiger's like, you know what, fuck this bitch, and just jumps out of the giant wall and gets out.
You know what? Let's refresh real quick. The story we're talking about is when a kid got eaten at the San Diego Zoo by a tiger who jumped like 16 feet out of its own enclosure.
Giant pit.
And you go, oh no, why did the kid die? Because he was throwing rocks at the tiger.
And it jumps up and gets close to him a couple times,
And he's like, ha ha ha, and keeps throwing rocks at it.
and it gets within swiping distance and then just fucking clears it. So
Yeah, so fucking.
they can super jump. And so looking at the way this was set up, that's my first thought was looking at the super jump potential. And it was, they were not able to get out. However, right, you're surrounded by that. Then there was some elephants on the other side, and some really cool gorillas hanging out where they're like, and the gorillas, they're like, any other thing that fights, they'll break them up and trank if they need to. Gorillas have to fight because they need to let each other know who's boss, because if they don't, they won't have the confidence to mate when the time comes. And if they just trank them, they wake up and go, who won? I don't know, and then they get right back into it. So,
I don't like gorillas.
but this shit is all set up around the food area where the smell of fucking delicious cooked meat is just going 24/7, and I'm like, why would you put the lions
Outback Steakhouse right next to them?
Why would you do this? And we're eating our foods and dripping our sauces over the barriers as lions are just smacking their teeth like, and that's their whole existence. Is the smelling of delicious, delicious meats.
One day we're gonna get the meat, and then the other day we're gonna get the meat eating the meat.
You know? And I was like, this is an unfortunate place to put that. That's not smart, guys.
I refuse to go to any primate area, and the DK rap is not on loop 24/7.
Well, you know what? Of that 24,
fuck off.
Yeah, you know what fucking DK is doing 8 hours a day? Eating.
Yeah.
Because when you're eating fucking leaves and you're that big and powerful,
you need to eat so much of it.
It's a full-time job.
Because it's not real food.
Tirzu just did a video.
Or should dinosaurs be unbanned from the meta?
And like, number one problem is they're so large and their food supply is mostly plants that it's probable that like the current Earth just can't support them. They would probably all die immediately from starvation.
Unless we fucking showed up. Started throwing ourselves at them.
Well, that's not going to help a Triceratops.
No, it's not.
They need plants.
But the omnivores and carnivores would
Do you know you can outrun a T-Rex? They're actually quite slow.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What about but then anything that's not a T-Rex is still a fucking problem.
Well, yeah, the raptors will kill you for sure.
Raptors will fucking.
The raptors are just kangaroos with claws.
You know, and any of those smaller shits too, the annoying ones. Anyway, ideally,
yeah, I don't like. I want to expand chimps and gorillas and whatnot in zoos. Freak me out.
So the weirdest part about the zoo is that there was a dino zoo section.
What?
And I was like, and it's like you're just wasting park space.
Is this where they throw those loser birds that they're like, this was
not
even
from
a raptor?
They're just statues, and you're like, you're wasting space. Statues on fucking statues.
No, get something endangered in there.
The animatronic fucking Stegosaurus that I saw at the escape room was more impressive. Anyway,
get some fucking, I don't know.
Yeah.
Steal someone's kids and throw them in there.
There was a kangaroo and shit like that. It was cool. But whatever. I could go on about the fucking zoo forever. But it was.
Hey, guess what? Zoos are cool. And if you think zoos are bad, you're probably misunderstanding the situation.
Played a whole lot of Death's Gambit.
Yes, you did.
Went through that and first demoed it back at the PAX floor. And I remember my impressions were like, yeah, this is cool, though. Feels a little loose here and there with a couple of things. And the main thing was like the soulsness aspect of it was like taken to the nth degree where you would actually see the phases marked on the life bar.
I saw Jim talking about it. He did a video on it, and he was like, yeah, it's pretty good. But like its soulsness seems like crazy over
the construction of what it is to be a Souls-like.
Like I saw
it's never been more.
I saw a cutscene where a character's like, you need to ring the 2 bells, and he's like, really? He's like, no.
It's never been
okay.
Yeah, but it's never been more overt than you seeing on a life bar what phase you're in.
Yeah.
You know. That being said, there's some really cool shit in this game. In particular, the way it handles its narrative is quite fun. It does a lot of interesting things with the I guess I'll say the difficulty and the deaths.
Okay.
That will occur at bosses.
All right.
And it plays with your experience coming back around after dying and trying to get back to your souls, or not your souls, rather your feathers.
I feel really bad for this game because it came out right after Dead Cells came out.
But Dead Cells was in early access for a long ass time. But this was just put out as an Adult Swim game.
To very many people, that distinction doesn't matter.
But they were in development for a very long time, the both of them. Yeah. This was announced a long time ago too. In fact, I remember the first gifs of it with that sliding teeter-totter boss. So here's what happens. When you die in this, you don't drop your souls.
Drop feathers, you said, right?
You drop your Estus. 1 sip.
Oh.
So each death, you lose a sip of Estus.
Permanently? Well, not
until you go retrieve it.
Okay.
Or you pay money to get them back. Right?
I'm a big fan of, I'm thinking of Hollow Knight because I've played a bunch of it, right? I'm a big fan of, like, okay, Corpse Run. Dark Souls brought the Corpse Run back. Corpse Run is big. How can we tweak the Corpse Run Like, you're talking about losing your healing.
Less heals.
Over time.
Yeah.
That's rough. And, like, I'm thinking of Hollow Knight, one of the nice little details is that the soul that you have to kill on your corpse run
fights back.
is getting stronger the farther I go in the game.
Yeah, it fights back. Yeah. So they're stepping up that concept. But, like, yeah, the funnest thing about this game is definitely the way it delivers its story. The voice acting is really good.
Some of those character designs too.
There's some solid voice acting going on, but at the same time, your main character doesn't talk, and it's a bit weird. But I'm not sure why. The one thing, though, well, it's not one thing. There's a couple things, but so that aspect I was complaining about with like the deconstruction and like the seeing the phases and the whole like overtly Souls thing, you get past that. But there's a level of jank that still exists, and in particular, it comes out in how buggy the game is.
I want to hear that.
You're running into bugs pretty frequently.
Hey man, a game that has that form of structure in which it is mean to you needs to be fair. Can't break.
A lot of C-class stuff.
Can you define that for the people?
Like sitting at a bonfire and having it, like, the menu that pops up, you can't, like, the text is gone. Right.
Okay, so not
no, C-class is the frame that disappears, right?
Yeah.
B is the text is gone, so I can't level up at this bonfire because I don't know what my numbers are going to be.
Right. So noticeable, not disastrous, but like, from a user perspective.
Yeah, I had another B class occur just last night where, talking to NPCs, I could only select the first option on their list of, like, talk, buy, upgrade, whatever.
You just couldn't go down?
I couldn't go down.
That's...
I quit the game, I restarted, I couldn't go down again. I quit to main menu and restarted, it didn't work. Then I had to fucking shut it down and come back in, and it was fine. But stuff like that happens. Certain graphics not appearing when I change screens are popping in late. Bodies of things I killed, like, doing their death animation when I walk back into the screen. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, like, there's some QA things happening.
Weird, because we played the game for like an hour or more in the video, and like, it gave me no impression.
Didn't run into anything, no.
But it's just, as you just go on, you're playing on what?
I'm playing on Steam, yeah. And there's some definite localization things that pop up every now and then where you're like, yeah, that's a weird way to phrase that. But the characters and NPCs you meet continue to be awesome
right.
The whole way through. In fact, there's not a dud amongst them.
Really?
Every
That's
single
impressive.
NPC I've met has been fucking strong. Really, really cool with that. And yeah, I guess like I'm about 8 bosses in, right?
Shit.
So a lot of like quite a few hours in, and
Are you still using that scythe build?
yeah,
or no?
yeah. So I'm doing the Acolyte of Death run, and the game is definitely, it feels like the weird choice because the game is like, here's a bunch of shit if you're not a scythe user, right? So it seems like it's like really made for all the other weapons, and I feel like I picked a weird one that seems to have less provisions.
Can't respec anywhere.
You can respect. Well, no. I don't know, but I don't want to because I was like, being an Acolyte of Death in this game allows you to. There's sometimes you find bonfires, quote unquote, they're like statues of death that are broken, and this lets you kill them. So I'm like, I'll take an extra save spot where I couldn't get one before. But I'm noticing all these enemies, like bosses I'm fighting and things like that, are like, cool, hey, do you want to learn these rad techniques for not the weapon you have? And
That's why I asked, because like maybe the game always does that. If you can respec, like it's letting you know, but this class is really cool too.
It's like each class you meet like you meet like the badass thief, you meet the badass spear holder, you meet the badass hammer guy, and they're all like, yo, I got tech for my thing, and you meet an archer and whatnot, and I just haven't met anybody.
At all.
No, a single person is
I
like...
thought you meant like they're there, you just...
No.
The other guys keep coming
and
up.
the other guy, the hammer guy's like, yeah, I got some axe shit too. The spear girl is like, I have some, whatever, what's it called? Like a pochard, whatever, the other type of polearm in the game. I've got some of that too. And the archer's like, yeah, I got both stuff. But there's
that's
zero.
an actual bug.
I don't know. No, it just feels like it's the weapon that has the least handouts. But again, maybe that's the trade-off for having
maybe it's
the ability to bring back statues.
Base level.
You know. Halberd, that's the weapon I'm thinking of. Some fun ideas for these boss fights, though, I gotta say. There's some really cool concepts that wouldn't expect of a, like, Souls-like.
What's an example you can dance?
So the one that you saw at the test floor, at the PAX floor, was like a teeter-tottering stage where you're fighting this large thing that it looks pretty much exactly like a Kappa demon. Capra. How am I saying that? Did I fuck it? Is it Capra or Kappa demon? Capra. It's like the Capra demon. And if you spend too much time on one side of the stage or the other, it teeters until you all die.
Okay.
Right? So you have to spend time balancing that out. And then it starts doing area denial so that you have to get through the area to keep the thing balanced, right? Another example is you have a 2D version of the end fight.
Really?
You have a fucking sniper battle.
You won't expect
Keep
this.
explaining.
I super didn't expect this.
Large stage horizontally that you have to fucking traverse as the boss is either coming at you in person, taking shots off with a laser that eventually changes from yellow to red and then fires at you, or eventually jumps into the background and starts picking you off and setting up traps in the foreground to get you. Fucking cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, unexpected entirely, right? But like every design is like ranges from the badasses we saw in that quick look of like just
They're super cool.
Blizzard-esque cool like armor, or straight up Destiny characters, right?
What?
Helmet and armor and fucking gun and like tattered cloak.
You said laser before, and I was like,
Yeah, I kind of lost you there when you said laser.
Literal sniper
I'm
rifle.
saying gun.
Sniper rifle firing at me.
Weird. I've
Yeah.
seen this game a bunch all over the place, and not once did my brain go, gun.
Everyone has a cool old school helmet or visor. It's an interesting mix of all styles, really, and it works. It doesn't feel out of place. It feels particularly cool. Yeah, but the boss fights have all been pretty great with that so far. The abilities and power ups and things you get really let you kind of focus in on a particular style, and there's a nice skill tree that you can invest in after each boss fight as well. So lots of fun, solid ideas going on here, more than I initially expected. However, the jankness is real, and that's gonna have to be, I guess, patched out over time, because it does,
Or not.
and sometimes the way that certain enemies swing at you feels like that Flash kind of sliding limb swing, It's like, not all of them. Some of them are very clearly fucking slick with it and have real animation happening, but every once in a while a certain type of enemy will come at you with just like, my arm is moving, my elbow is moving the sword, and then that's sliding around for big axe swings, But still very cool overall, and more cool shit to see than not cool shit, I should say. I'll check back in once I'm a bit further along. But yeah, some really fun cutscene stuff going on, some really fun story delivery devices that I think you guys would enjoy. I also saw that movie 8th Grade. I don't know if you've seen or heard about it, but just really quickly, it's Bo Burnham. The comedian Bo Burnham wrote a movie about, like, just being a hot mess of an awkward, cringy girl in the 8th grade in the era of social media, and trying to make YouTube videos while, like, at school barely being able to talk to people and stuff. And it's full of cringe, and it's full of, like,
that's what you like.
Relatable awkwardness, and like, it's one of those things where my girl was basically just like going like, oh my god, this is me on TV, this is me on movie film. Like, just like hyper relatable, like awful feelings of like, remember when everything in high school felt like the biggest deal in the world because you had no context for how little it matters?
Yeah.
Well, high school also, everything feels like the biggest deal in the world is because your brain chemistry as a younger person makes it literally feel like a bigger deal.
You're not finished developing as a human being until you're like 25.
The comparison that I remember reading up a million years ago, the stress response that a teenager, like a 15-year-old, would get from failing a test or like having a really bad date or something is the equivalent to someone our age losing their job.
Right. Okay.
Like it's like it is actually statistically and like chemically worse for teenagers.
Because also just around you, you're told how important high school is. You're locked in here for years. I mean, you can quit, obviously, like depending on your situation. But most people are like, "Oh, there's so much pressure on you
Yeah. But
to have a decent high school."
But in combination with that, you literally don't have other outlets because you don't have anything else going on in life or responsibilities outside of these things, right? That's why I'm like, I don't know if it's a chicken or the egg scenario.
Oh no,
where
it's
the
both.
circumstances cause the stress.
It's your perspective, but also your stress response is higher.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening?
You know what seemed like a big deal also? Lachine High.
Yeah.
That was a big deal for me
really,
at the time.
even though it's fucking not. It's an afterthought.
Listen, it's not like it ruined and defined your whole life or anything.
But yeah. So there's that, and that's the whole thing. And like anytime I'm like, I try to give advice to like younger people about anything in that regard, or just like high school drama that occurs. It's like you can't possibly understand right now how little this matters in the long run. But right now, when your only social outlets are the house you live in, then the school you go to, possibly a job somewhere.
Or a hangout area.
I'm gonna imagine
There's nothing else that you're gonna care
It's like
about.
the map of your world is very small. There's only a couple locations on that 2D overhead
I can only
map.
imagine you phrased that somewhat differently if you were talking to somebody who's like, listen, you have no idea how much none of this shit matters. I know you're upset, but it just doesn't matter. Stop bothering me with this shit.
I mean, look, like when someone, and the thing is too, is like the person who's fucking dealing with it, you have to understand. Of course, it's like like that. So like when you look at the 5% like mattering, that you would attribute to the fact that someone roasted you online and everyone clicked like on it, you know, and then it's like okay, but like in this like high school context, that's the only social outlet you have to be concerned with.
It's pretty important.
And then there's just homework and family, and so you're like, that's 50% of how much you care in your entire life, you know? I feel
glad
like
fucking social media thing wasn't a thing.
Oh yeah,
When I was
it'd be
alive.
bad. It'd be bad. But it feels like there would be a lot of
when we were kids, we didn't have to deal with the danger of memes.
it feels like a lot of this would help if you had more social circles and outlets to be involved with. So like the fact that I had like church people and stuff to deal with meant there was a whole other facet.
Some stuff.
There was a football team and all the people that I knew there that I had to deal with.
Extracurricular activities would help.
Family.
And they help take maybe the edge off of high school.
Summer camp has a whole bunch of other strangers.
Oh, that's more stressful
The
than high school.
neighbors and the people around, you know, like there's all these different social groups, and when you the more you juggle in that way, the more something bad happening with one of them
kind of gets spread out.
doesn't matter as much.
Yeah,
because you're like, when I zoom out, that's one thing in one group, and like there's just so much else going on, and becoming an adult just it makes that happen a whole bunch of times. So you realize that like, oh fuck, that one interaction doesn't matter because that person is one of 100 people as opposed to one of the 30 in this class.
And then you become like an older adult, and you're like, none of these people matter. It's just
Yeah.
and then you become hyper isolated.
Like that bully or that person that wasn't giving you the time of day, or that mean teacher. It's like you're not gonna.
No, I mean like you bump into somebody on the street and you tell them to fuck off because you're never gonna see them again. They could be dead tomorrow.
There's someone from high school. Is someone on
No,
rando?
person.
So these conversations are always going to have the
What if that guy
experiences
turns
that
out
we
to be
had.
an Uber driver to you and he drives you off like a cliff?
And he'll get a bad review from the bottom of that cliff.
Yes, he would.
But it's an interesting movie to watch if that's at all relatable to you in any way and stuff. I feel like looking at it, I'm like, man, there's always that feeling I have of like, I definitely knew and was friends with
People here.
these people. Yeah, I wasn't in this bad place. Like, my high school really didn't have that level of, like, to it. But, knowing, being close enough to people that like I remember seeing that happen to, and again the fact that like Margot was like, yeah, no, I remember trying to like make an impression here, and then or like one day like the popular super pretty girl was like being super nice, and then you were like, yay, but you're also suspicious. But you're like, but what? And then it was like, oh, because like she got in trouble for something, and she thought that like she could get her to sign off on like to approve to be an alibi for some shitty thing, and so she was acting really nice just to use her or whatever. And you're like, oh man, yeah, like that. I've seen it. I
should have just trusted your fists.
Yeah, police will never help you.
Hall monitors will never help you.
Fun watch if you want to try some of that. If you want to see teachers trying to be cool and whatnot.
I don't want to see that.
You described a movie that I couldn't want to watch less.
It's the best. I love it. I love enjoying that, and it's hilarious, and it's fucking relatable in that.
There are elements that you have described that have made me uncomfortable on this side of the table just from hearing your description.
Watamote
is too real, but it's not too real, if you know what I mean.
Because it's Japanese.
No, because I knew that person and was friends with them, but I wasn't them.
Because that's so nuts.
But I was like approaching. What you're describing right now is too real.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Oh no, do it.
Nah, I'm good.
Do it.
Anyway, let's get into
Hollow Knight just got physical releases announced for all the platforms that we were surprised it wasn't on. That's nice.
Well, let's start with like the screaming news.
Yes.
The screaming news of the week is that Windjammers 2 was announced.
Screams.
It's fucking crazy.
I'm not surprised.
Who's it being developed by?
.mu.
.mu. Why not? They ported it.
All right. Well.
Hey, that's the good one.
No, they're not. No, it's not. It's bad. The online play for that never fucking worked.
Okay.
Isn't .emu the company that you and Liam had an ongoing feud with the Metal Slug shit?
Oh my god, you're taking what I need. Just let me finish.
No, my thing is real.
Okay. This is fucking derailed because when I said that's the good one, as in this was the one project that when I touched it immediately, it didn't feel like they fucked it up.
The emulation was fine.
Yes, everything else they've done has been a complete catastrophe, and I fucking hate it. Yes, obviously, the Last Blade shit was awful. The Metal Slug shit was awful.
Is good.
What I'm saying is, when I went to the booth and I went, oh my god, oh no, it's .mu, is this gonna be garbage?
Yeah.
I played it and I was like, no, it feels like Windjammers. Okay, right? And then they added the extra shit and whatnot, but I don't know about the online because I haven't tried the online, so I didn't know that was bad.
Yeah.
But I know that all I'm saying is the emulation wasn't the complete mess it was previously, and that's why I was like, okay, this is the good one they did. They didn't fuck up Windjammers because I was so scared.
Also,
considering that Power Disc Jam wasn't really my jam.
They did that PS4 special port of Garou, and that was also unplayable.
Completely.
So
everything else they did was the worst.
Get excited!
I kind of wish SNK was a bit in on this, but I will not say that it's not fucking cool that this exists.
So if the online is shit, that sucks. This is the first I've heard of that. I only played locally, right?
No.
The amount of effort they put into that versus the other shit that just got dropped into emulators also was like way more than they usually do.
Plus, at least this seems like it has a nice animated little video, this new sequel, so maybe they're gonna put some more money into it.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm just laughing because I almost fell down for no reason.
I'm unfortunately you didn't. But yeah, like obviously they've been garbage with everything else, but yeah, that's
so get excited now though.
So I'm hoping for good things, obviously, but I'm not surprised because it came back and it was such a hit on return that why wouldn't they?
Or Disc Jam.
Yeah. Flying Power Disc and like Disc Jam, but you know, it's weird. It's hard to really explain. It's in the same way that
no one's been more fucked over than that.
But it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't matter. I just feel bad for them.
Because I hate having that conversation with people. There's people that love Windjammers and love Disc Jam, and I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. That's like, it doesn't feel good.
I think
if they're enjoying it, but like, you know what I mean? And sometimes.
Did you just say it doesn't feel good if they're enjoying it?
No, I don't want to be that guy that's being like, you're having fun wrong. You know? But it's just like, unfortunately,
you're being that guy right now.
It wasn't what I wanted, because the things I like about Windjammers is a specific feel.
No, you're not wrong.
That feel was absent.
It didn't.
Well, you're completely not wrong. But Matt's point is that like poor Disc Jam, because if none of this shit existed, you would just have to suck up the bad feel and enjoy it.
You would. But you know, the story of the people for Disc Jam like having heads in hands as Windjammers was announced to return. You know, that's just the moment capturing this entire saga.
And it's like,
and it'll continue to be that.
Oh no, it happened right when we were doing it. And it's like this game's existed for decades.
The spiritual successor, you know, was met with this. But you know what? Look how many spiritual successors to Power Stone we have now. And like,
there's a couple.
It would be as if like Power Stone officially got brought back.
It's a good thing that'll never happen.
Never.
They're safe.
There was a PSP collection. That's the most
that was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, and then some anime. You know.
But no, it's still cool. This was announced. Very happy for the ambassador of Windjammers, Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods.
He's going crazy over this.
Yeah.
Very odd that all that they said was that they announced that Windjammers 2 is coming. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, did you not see the teaser for this?
No.
Okay, so the teaser that they put out is just an animated fucking Windjammers moment.
It's not why
And the fact that it shows the Olympic Stadium in Montreal.
Montreal Olympic Stadium.
Oh. Yeah,
so maybe there's a Canada team or something.
Hopefully, maybe.
They've announced that this is coming
out. 2 new characters we're seeing, though.
And PC only right now, which is very odd. It's the reverse of how the original came out.
Okay, so I don't know what you want, but visually, I would have no problem. I'd have no problem with Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
Yep.
No problem with that.
Sonic Mania showed off that it's a good way to do it.
Same quality sprites, just more characters.
Oh, Sonic Mania is totally higher quality sprites.
Okay.
Well, same art
same
style.
On a screenshot, it's the same sprite. In animation, it's nicer. But you understand what I mean. The visual style is keeping the old aesthetic.
Like, make it look like a sequel that came out 2 years later. Not 20 years later.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, that's what we're hoping for, but it's coming in 2019.
I think the Switch version of Windjammers 1 comes out.
Hey, is there anything else that's coming out in 2019?
A lot of things, actually. A whole bunch of announcements this week, so quite frankly, that could be it. Like, I don't know.
I was actually going to go for the Bloodstained one.
Yeah, sure.
That one sucks.
I was going to go with the Sekiro.
I didn't even catch that. So, there's a lot. Let's roll through it. Bloodstained was announced today to be delayed to 2019. The Vita version's been canceled. Hey, man. Take your time.
There's at least one person out there that I can think of that is probably very bummed out by this news.
Hey, everyone. Iga here. 2 important announcements we'd like to make. The game will now launch in 2019. The game will no longer launch on PlayStation Vita. It's unfortunate, but as a result, we won't be releasing the game on Vita. For backers who ordered the Vita version of the game, you get to choose another platform or request a refund. And,
that's nice.
I love how he throws Sony under the bus specifically.
Well, the platform's not gonna. It doesn't exist anymore.
I know, but he's just like, it's not. You could still release it, but he's like, we're not going to release it because it's not going to make money.
It's a massive waste of development resources.
Hey man, let it cook, let it cook.
So this is my fault. I'll apologize right now. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. I'm like, you should really play Hollow Knight. And I'm like, and he goes, oh yeah, but Bloodstained's coming out soon. I'm gonna play that. I'm like, yeah, you should play Hollow Knight instead though. And now it's delayed. That's my fault.
Oh, Curse of the Moon was really good. It's extraordinary.
I like it very much.
I mean, I'd like to say it whet the appetite somewhat. You know?
Yes, very much so.
But the fact that there's more replay than expected for a mini extra bonus fun game is like, yeah, let this thing cook, man. Let it cook.
This would sting a lot more if Curse of the Moon wasn't so good.
And if you didn't have a ton of other choices happening right now.
Of like
2D platforming,
very similar genres.
Metroidvania-esque things going on.
The problem with delaying this much, though, is that it better deliver.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry, as much better as this is, and as good as Crescent Moon is, it's like you're going to be compared to Mighty Number.
Everyone shoulders that taint.
Yeah.
This is another Kickstarter giant, right? So there's not
like a year
there's
or
not
two
many
after.
left. There's not many left of this era, but this is one of the ones that are we've been waiting on for quite a few
Shenmue
years.
3, and that's it. That's all I can think of it right now.
But based on the demo that came out, like I'd be surprised if it didn't deliver.
Yeah, no, me
quite
too.
frankly.
I mean, I enjoyed the demo, but still.
But yeah, it's unfortunate for this team, but it's like, I completely agree with Matt. It's like, Mighty Number 9 salted the earth so fucking bad that until every single thing that came out, even near it, of that era, or
that caliber
associated
of,
with
franchise.
it, like everyone's always going to have like a little worry in the chest.
But I have been seeing as a sentiment, maybe it's just like localized into our kitchen, and it's not not reflective of the fan base as a whole. But I feel as if people have been more understanding of games they're excited for being delayed these days.
Oh, absolutely.
Than they used to
I
be.
think so.
There
There's
used
too
to be
many
a
games.
really
Plus-
instant anger result from a game announcement of a delay happening.
These delays are very transparent with how this Kickstarter is being run, whereas like Mighty Number 9s were like very frustrating
Well,
to people.
you still can't get an answer from anyone at Mighty Number 9 as to whether or not the 3DS or Vita versions even exist.
I fucking love it.
So-
I love this story. It's the best.
So people are also like we're all living in this same world where we're spoiled for choice a lot of the time. So I think people are in general like one, more understanding, two, less upset, especially when the explanation is like it just needs more time, like
It's almost like Mighty Number 9 like helped in a way. Or
to set that off.
Almost kind of like set it off a little bit where it's like you don't want another Mighty Number 9. But yeah, that was delayed for like an extra year and a half.
a lot of it has to do with how you handle it too.
Yeah,
If you don't game it
When was this slated to come out prior to the delay? Do you know?
last year,
No, I mean like recently. What was the current release date?
the end of this year.
It was.
Sure.
Was it soon?
Probably it's a Castlevania game. Probably maybe even October. I don't know if it had an actual release.
Because that's the only thing that ever really bugs me about delays anymore is when you get to that point like a month out where you're like excited and then they delay it like a year and you're like,
I think if you never give a month, you're okay to delay it.
yeah.
Like you should. Like there shouldn't be that much ire. Just go down to release.
yeah. No.
Nah, this fucking article is too updated. It's already talking about.
Damn it, Wiki. Oh well.
But anyway, yeah, we live in a place now where it really is.
Where you're like, that's
no skin off my back,
yeah. Like for example, Monster Hunter. It had a release date of fall, and then it had a release date of the first week of August, and you can tell that they should have held it till like maybe end of September because the PC ports got issues.
So like your and again your chart has its don't do this, only villains do this.
That's right.
Versions of Mighty Number 9, Half-Life 3.
You have to exist.
It did exist. That's the worst part.
Up until recently, would I be correct in saying Kingdom Hearts 3?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts 3, like, Final Fantasy Versus 13 held that crown, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 got it when 15 came out.
And
then when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, that he's gonna give that fucking time crown over to FF7.
Yeah.
Time.
There's always a passing of the time baton. Yeah. The torch goes on.
I like time crown.
The time
big
crown.
T, gold
Yeah.
T you wear on there.
You're the king of delays.
Dumb clock.
And hey, they're all like, that's really bad to me because that's all within the same company. And
Yeah.
it's depressing.
For the same reasons most of the time too.
Like I don't play 14 as much anymore, but when I was super into that, like you get to see development a lot more closely a lot of the time because you're following dev updates, and you just see like, oh, this patch is short because they pulled people off it to work on this 15 DLC or whatever. Like Square Enix has like very little distinction between like projects. So this needs to come out now, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
That means people are getting pulled off of shit that's in the future, like probably Final Fantasy 7, to all hands on deck. You know,
So
that
when
kind of
Kingdom
thing?
Hearts comes out and it hands the time crown over to FF7, what happens, Matt? What do we hear? time extended.
You know what I was gonna say?
You know what happens?
You get time extended.
Do you know what happens the instant the time crown is passed to FF7? They announced that, hey, look, development on FF7 is really ramping out, and then the next E3 they announce a remake of some other. No, they announced they announced Final Fantasy 16 with a non-release date, and then